Heaven's California.
Hey guys, so for the first time I'm going to be reacting to a video by Corpse Husband. It came to me eventually. So I was recommended this by somebody. I don't have my phone with me right now, but it's charging. But some Mario something, I have no idea what it was. I don't know, I think it was something Mario. Anyway, this video was quite lengthy. I noticed it was like 26 minutes or 22 minutes almost. So 3 true scary Tinder horror stories that you can learn from. Scary online dating app stories featuring somebody, I don't know who, but it'll probably be in the title if I need to mention it. But yeah, anyway, so it's about 22 minutes long. Kind of curious. Of course, it is my first video that I'm watching by him. The windows are open in case you hear any sirens or in case this thing moves. They've been open all night and they're open like fully right now, so yeah, so I'm not watching this one at night this time. Bad choice, because yesterday I watched the Nightmare one. It was not fun. But let me just make sure the volume's right. My sister's just over there sleeping, so I don't want to be too loud, but anyway, my first Corpse Husband video. I don't know what his voice is like, I don't know, but Tinder horror stories are always fun, right? So let's get into this.
I made the dumbest, most detrimental decision of my life last year. I'm a female and at the time was 16 with very low self-esteem. I admit, it was a rough year for me last year and I craved attention badly. I didn't have a legitimate father figure growing up and was in a constant power struggle with my mother. This initiated me lashing out and, well, doing incredibly stupid shit. The worst of my decisions came during Christmas break. I had just ended my time as a waitress at a local diner and was confined to my room for several days after being grounded. Well, technically I was grounded from leaving my house, but staying in my room was my choice. I would entertain myself with social media, Twitter mainly, but I would also use dating sites to ease the boredom. Tinder was definitely the most fun. I admit I lied about my age so that I could use the app, but I clarified that I was only 16 in the bio section. I was extremely picky, swiping right on only about 1 out of every 20 guys. I didn't give the ones I chose much thought. Some of them messaged me and some didn't. I had a lot of short-lived, senseless conversations that led to nothing. That was until I met this man named Zach.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
He was 25, or so he said, and was actually very attractive. He messaged me a cheesy pickup line and we flirted back and forth for a while. Eventually, he asked for my number and, of course, I didn't hesitate. I gave it to him and we texted that entire night. The conversation was casual. He had trouble spelling out words and his grammar was horrendous, but honestly, I found it kind of cute. It was around 3 a.m. when I decided to pass out, leaving him and everyone else I was communicating with hanging. Being that it was super late, I figured they would understand and know that I had fallen asleep.
But he
got
mad.
Not the case.
Yeah, he got pissed.
When I woke up that morning, around 11 a.m., I had 12 missed calls, 3 or 4 voicemails, and 10 or so text messages.
He's pissed.
All from Zach. He seemed like a decent, mild-mannered man when texting, but this was not the case when I read his messages and listened to his voicemails. I had never in my life heard or read such disgusting, threatening language.
Relax,
and it came out of nowhere. He said a lot of things, but I'll share the worst of it with you. The last message he sent me read as follows. Okay, cunt, since you want to ignore me like a bitch, then I'll treat you like one. When I see you, I'll show you how much I hate being ignored. Have you ever had a broken jaw? It hurts. And I can't wait to shove myself in your bloody mouth. Yeah, vile shit, man.
What?
Excuse the spelling and grammar of the screenshot.
Wow.
Like I said, he was really bad at those things.
Wow.
I immediately blocked him and didn't even bother texting back.
Yeah, don't.
I deleted the messages and voicemails and just tried to forget the whole thing.
Well, no, because then you have proof.
I didn't tell anyone, especially not my mother. I would have for sure had my phone taken away. 2 days passed and nothing had changed. I was still locked away in the house, being a bed bum in my room.
Okay.
It was late, everyone was asleep, and I was once again bored out of my mind. I was thinking about the whole Zach ordeal when suddenly I had an oh shit moment. I had blocked him from everything besides the very place I met him. Tinder. I had notifications for that app turned off, so I had completely forgotten about it.
Oh God.
I logged back on, and sure enough, it was riddled with messages from Zach. I wasn't even going to open them, but the first several words from the thread caught my eye. He was talking about how he knew where I lived and that he was standing outside my house. He even mentioned the house being 2 stories. This could have been a good guess. I mean, a lot of houses are 2 stories, but what shook me at my core and sunk my stomach was his location. When I first matched him, he was 30 or so miles away. But now it said he was less than a mile away.
Oh shit.
I lost my shit and quickly deleted him and my Tinder account immediately. I regret this now because I didn't think to screenshot it for evidence or whatever.
How do you not do that?
I was still too stupid and scared to tell anyone.
I would do that right away.
I spent that entire night peeking out of my window and even let one of our outside blue healers sleep in my room. I was scared to the point of nausea. I stayed awake until dawn, so I slept until around 3 p.m. When I went downstairs, my mother had spine-chilling news for me.
Oh God.
She told me that a man came to the door asking for me and said that he knew me from church. I didn't even attend church at the time. My mother, thank God, very smartly told him that he had the wrong house.
Okay.
And then contacted the police and gave a description.
Awesome.
She didn't bother waking me because she thought and still thinks that the man was just a random creeper. That I had no knowledge of him.
Well, she knows of him, but...
She said that he asked for her daughter, rather than saying my name.
Oh.
If it was indeed Zach, I had no idea and still have no idea how he found me. It was the longest month of my life before I moved to live with my older sister. The only vague possible sign of Zach that I saw was an old junky green car that often drove down our street. It most likely wasn't him, but my nerves told me otherwise. This whole situation still gives me nightmare fuel, and I haven't used Tinder since.
Yeah, don't
to
use
all
dating
you
apps.
girls out there, and even guys, please be careful when using social media apps and speaking with strangers. You never truly know who you're talking to.
That's terrifying to think that you never really know who you're talking to. Number 2. That's a cool thingy. Like a little thing to say.
A little backstory for me. I'm a really petite 16-year-old girl. I'm 5 feet tall and 93 pounds, and I haven't grown since 7th grade.
Wow.
I take MMA, kickboxing, and self-defense classes in order to keep myself safe since I'm so small.
Awesome, yeah, good.
I'd just broken up with my boyfriend, and I decided to get on Tinder. Within an hour, I had a guy, we'll call him Thomas, message me. His bio said he lived about 20 minutes from me, and he was 18 years old. We talked for a day or two on there, and we had a lot in common. He could make me laugh, and that was super important to me. He asked if I'd like to meet him, and I said sure. Since I've had a bad past with guys, I asked if we could go somewhere public, and I'd meet him there instead of him picking me up.
Well, either way, it should be a
We met at the
place.
movies and had a great time. He drove me home, and everything was great. About a week later, he asked if he could pick me up from school to get ice cream and walk around this beautiful lake near my house. I said okay, and I was really excited. He picked me up, we got ice cream, and we walked about halfway around the lake when we decided to sit on a bench. It was silent. And then he started talking about how he'd get away with killing someone. My red flag started going off.
Leave.
I laughed it off and said I've watched shows like that, hoping he was joking.
Leave.
He smiled, stood up, and started walking towards the dog poop bag dispenser.
Leave now.
I felt uneasy, so I stood up as well. He put the bag over his hand and started walking towards me. He put the bag near my face, and I thought he was just trying to gross me out.
No, run.
As I swatted the bag away and giggled, he grabbed my forearm, pulled me, and put me in a headlock and put the bag over my mouth. I thought he was sick and just messing around, but after about 5 seconds, I started screaming and squirming. He picked me up so I couldn't kick him in the balls from my angle. After about 30 seconds, I felt as if I was going to pass out, and I got really scared. Luckily, I knew self-defense, and I hit him in the jaw, and he released my arm.
Good.
I then hit him in the balls. He fell to the ground and laughed. He said,
I didn't think you'd be able to defend yourself.
at this time, I knew
Wow.
I wouldn't be able to outrun him. I remembered I had a taser in my purse, which was in his car.
Oh shit.
I pretended to laugh and told him that I needed my inhaler from the car. He walked me over there really close to me, with his hand around the back of my neck, you know, like how moms do when they're angry with you in public.
Why would you?
It was silent until he muttered.
I could have killed you back there.
I got to the car, grabbed my taser out of my bag, and took a hit from my inhaler. I told him my mom wanted me home by 5, which was a lie, and we had to leave.
So you're acting as if
I was
just
texting
nothing
my mother
happened?
an SOS message, and I looked up to see him holding a pocket knife. I was scared now. Really scared. He opened it and put it between my rib cage. I couldn't say anything. I just looked at him. He said,
Could have killed you twice today.
he put the pocket knife away. I
Oh,
had
God.
a taser and I knew I could defend myself, so I let him drive me the rest of the way home. The entire drive, he talked about how easy it would be for him to kill someone and how he would feel very little remorse. He said he'd always imagined how it would be to put a knife through someone's chest or hold them underwater until the bubbles stopped. He texted me 5 minutes after I got home saying, I don't think we should see each other anymore.
No shit.
And that was that.
No
I went to
freaking
the
shit.
police station the next day. They looked him up and said, how old did he say he was? I
25?
said 18.
Oh, never mind.
Thomas turned out to be 23 with a record of beating up his ex-girlfriend, and he was also known to make younger girls uncomfortable at his workplace.
No, I can tell.
I don't know what would have happened if I didn't know how to defend myself.
You would have died.
Luckily, I'm okay and haven't heard from him since.
You would have died. That's it. That's it, you would have died. I'm really liking these stories so far. Really, really good. But he definitely had mental
I've
issues.
never felt proud about ever having signed up for one of those stupid dating sites, but when you're an 18-year-old college freshman who struggles with social engagements and is on the autistic spectrum, I guess you could say I was a bit desperate to have even a hint of what many around me had in terms of what we consider to be love. My history in terms of relationships was scarce, having only one real relationship for a month during my junior year of high school with a girl I never even expected to date.
Wow.
Although it didn't last too long because she decided to move on to someone who moved a bit faster. I shrugged it off in no time, though my friends didn't follow suit for a while, hitting me with jokes about the situation on a daily basis in class. After that whole relationship, if you can even call it that, I had experimented with a number of over-the-web relationships, but those didn't prove to be very successful either. Sometime during the Christmas break of my freshman year in college, I joined a couple of dating sites, still not being able to recollect why I came to the decision to even do so. I can't say I had much luck, with most of the conversations going absolutely nowhere 99% of the time.
I
Though
think that's how
I did
dating
end up
apps
making
usually
a
are. I
friend
don't
or
really...
two throughout the time spent on the sites. I did end up going on one date with a woman that luckily did end up being who she said she was and didn't end up stabbing the life out of me when we met up near my house.
Good.
But a couple months later is where messages over those sites would turn into a horror story. Just a couple months earlier, I had received a reply from a young lady complimenting me on my physical appearance, but I didn't hear from her again for over a month. When I did hear from her, we talked for a bit via the app's messenger until I asked to move it over to SMS. Nothing was out of the ordinary, just casual chat throughout the same day that I had originally given my number to this person.
Yeah, not yet.
But later that night, things took a really weird twist when this young lady started being sexual with me. And being the hormone-filled young adult I was, I played along. One thing led to another, and she sent a nude photo to me. And note that I had in no way asked for it. That, of course, made it worse, the thoughts in my mind blanking out all glimpses of morality and common sense. She wanted to see me, too, and I held no objections, haphazardly sending my own photo to her.
No, don't do...
Nothing pulled up a red flag for the rest of that night.
Don't do
But
that.
the next day, I noticed she wasn't really texting me after the morning hours. I was sitting at my desk in my dorm watching YouTube when I receive a call, and the caller ID is in her contact. I've never had her call me before, so I was kind of surprised, but picked up the phone and greeted the person on the line. "Hello?" I said. Still a very calm and casual tone to my voice since nothing was wrong yet.
Yeah.
But then, on the other side of the phone was not the sound of a young lady. What are pictures of you doing on my 15-year-old daughter's phone? I hang up instantly, not even taking the time to respond to the man's voice on the other end. I panicked. I knew hanging up was the wrong move, but I didn't know how I could have responded.
You fucked up.
Did this girl lie about her age? Was I a victim of some sort of trick? Then a text comes through from her contact that read something along the lines of, "You better call me back or you'll be in a prison cell within an hour."
Oh my
At
God.
this point, my heart has nearly imploded within my chest, but I dare not challenge this man, and I call him just as he demanded.
Good.
I wish I could still remember the exact conversation that went on, but everything went by so fast that the smaller details have since faded from my memory. All I can remember is trying to explain to this supposed father that I didn't know that the girl was underage, and that her profile said she was 20 years old. But all I could get in response is how I'm a sicko, a monster, a pedophile, and how he was going to put me behind bars.
Wow.
And for me, being a very skinny and fragile young man, I was terrified of the thought of being put behind those thick stone walls for years. My life being over, all my hard work and education being useless because no one will want to hire a sex offender, especially a pedophile. He then presented me with a proposal. If I would send this man $350 for the deactivation of the girl's phone, then he would just forget everything and let me go on free. In my savings account was maybe about $400 at the time. That had only been deposited days prior, but at the time I was prepared to give it to the stranger if it meant I didn't need to be afraid of being put in handcuffs for something I was the victim of.
Wow. That's
Problem
crazy.
was, I had no car. No way to even get to a MoneyGram. I barely even knew what that was, but the man said that that was how I was going to send the money. I literally begged my roommate to help me, to drive me, but he couldn't give two shits and decided his studies were more important than what could have been possibly my livelihood.
Wow.
But that's besides the point. I told the man that there was nothing I could do, that I had no ride, but he didn't seem to care and said I had until 7 p.m. to get the transaction done. Even worse was he basically had me hostage, because he said I had to stay on the phone with him the entire time,
What the
and was
fuck?
urging me to not tell anyone about what was going on, acting as if he gave a shit about what my family or what people around me might think of me when they heard
I'm
what
doing a
I did.
video.
Or was being accused of doing anyways. I told him I had to contact my family to help, and he gave me permission to contact them,
Wow.
but to quickly call him back afterwards. I can't imagine how my mom and stepdad felt when they received a call from me. In complete and utter panic, almost crying for the first time in so long. I was so afraid. Not only to be taken off to those stone walls, but to have my friends and family and community all shun me for the entirety of my life. Over one little mistake I made, even though I had no idea I was even doing something wrong, because in my eyes, I was the victim. I was manipulated by this person.
Wow.
My
Crazy.
stepdad quickly called up the man and threatened him, and the man only responded by trying to sound tough and hanging up. My stepdad spammed that phone with probably over 1,000 messages for about a day.
Wow.
The only other message I got from that number was a message saying, "I hope you like prison." My mom and stepdad said I don't have to worry, that there's a 99% chance that this was all a scam.
I hope so.
An attempt to extort me because I'm young and an easy target for this kind of thing. That didn't mean that for the next couple of weeks I wasn't paranoid that a policeman would come knock at my dorm door with a pair of handcuffs with my name on them. And even if it was a scam, then I couldn't help but feel stupid. That I was naive enough to actually fall for it. To be a short drive away from depleting my whole savings account to pay off this man.
Wow.
To this day, I still wonder if it was nothing but a ploy. Because
I'm
if it
kinda
wasn't,
thinking it
then
was.
technically I am guilty. Even if I thought this girl was of age, because in court there would be no "I thought" or "I didn't know." I tell this story hoping that people will take my stupid actions as an example of what not to do. To hopefully encourage others to take caution on the internet. Especially these dating sites, because no one is more vulnerable than a lonely and single person.
Facts.
Don't ever give personal information if you're not sure that they're real. And definitely do not ever send explicit photos. Tell your hormones no, because one quick release is not worth ending up embarrassed and feeling violated. Or worse.
it's already over? Oh.
Speaking of how you could be safe on the...
Hey guys, so it's actually currently the next day, so, my sister was upstairs, so I stopped the video. But, from what I remember, the second story, a girl was at the bench or something, like at a bench with some guy that she met on Tinder or something. And then he was like, yeah, I could have killed you right now. Yeah, like, I don't understand what the hell he was going on about. Like, yes, you could have killed me, so why didn't you? Like, I'm happy you didn't, but, like, why do you keep saying that? Like, I could have killed you, okay? I could have killed you, too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? But yeah, those stories were actually really good. Like, Corpse Husband, I definitely should watch him more. Yeah, definitely a really good video, and I definitely recommend people to watch his videos. I think that was his second recent video. I'm not going to promise I'll react to every single one. I'll try reacting to the ones that, like, I feel most intrigued by, or, like, the ones that I really want to watch. Like, that one was, like, true dating stories. I was like, click. I was like, right there, that's going to be a really good video. I already know it is, and it was, so. I don't know what other, like, videos he uploads, but someone told me that he's, like, Mr. Nightmare, so. Yeah, I'm just trying to get these videos up because, like, I'm trying to focus on school and this, and it's already Friday, so I'm trying to, like, Wednesdays are my days to film and upload, not Fridays, so I'm already kind of behind, but yeah, so that's basically it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.